I believe we're going live here.
And we're live.
And we're live. All right. Well, hello, everybody, for the last of the. I don't know why I was messing with that. Sorry. For the last of the Jungle Kit. Today, we, of course, are painting up the big old lizard boy. And then I've got. I got a couple I could show off for the next kit, the forest kit. But of course, that's gonna. You'll see the images of those tonight. Anyway, I'll show them here, but those photos are gonna be done, and then I'll send them out. And you guys can see them. But we're gonna be knocking out this guy today. Last of that kit. I was probably speaking too soon when I started in on all of that. But another relatively simple paint job, right? We did the smaller guy earlier this month. However, this guy's a little bit different since we are going to be focusing in on some of these scales and highlighting out the scales, and then also shining up the armor and doing all that stuff too. So that's what we're going to be working on there. Over the weekend, right now I'm currently trying to find a place to move to rapidly. City and I have been trying to do that for the last 3 weeks, but now it's almost impossible as we're learning. So, I may disappear for literally the rest of the week. But beyond that, I'm here with y'all today. But that's what I've been up to. We did do the Patreon class. We painted up the awesome Bones Black Stone Lurker. You guys can see that here. If that blue color looks familiar, it's because we used the same turquoise, right? Is it turquoise? Yes, the bright turquoise that we used on the dragon, or the lizard guys. But what's interesting is we tinted it up with phthalo green for the glowy transition on the tendril. So that was a little bit different, but had fun with that. It's always fun kind of painting these. I haven't painted really anything similar to this, but this is a great Bones Black miniature in general. But yeah, if you haven't checked this one out, the body's in 2 pieces, required a little bit of gap filling, and then you just plug in the big old whippy bits to get that rocking and rolling. But first thing we're going to do today, we pretty much need to do 2 big base coats, one being the skin and one being the armor. So let's go ahead and start with the armor. I'm going to start with the armor because as we sort of encountered last time, you're not going to get amazing coverage. You're going to get decent coverage, assuming that your paint isn't really runny or anything like that. But the idea with the paint to actually get the nice coverage and the nice metallic sheen and make sure you aren't getting brush strokes and all that good stuff is that you just do a relatively opaque coverage the first time around, or application rather, and we'll just go back in for a second coat. So that's why we're going to start with this first, and it'll just have a little bit more drying time. The turquoise on the skin, that's easy peasy. That color is about as opaque as the day is long, so we're not really too concerned about that. But you can see what I'm doing here, almost like I'm applying a glaze almost, not in consistency, but in brush movement. You'll notice whenever I'm doing a glaze with my brush or anything like that, I constantly am moving it, just boom, 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 boom. I'm always moving it around to make sure I'm minimizing brush strokes and just getting really, really good coverage all over, and that way I'll know that I'm not leaving too little or too much in general before that secondary coat. And moving quickly like that will also ensure that I'm not getting anything weird happening, like the pigment bunching up or pockmarking, tea-staining, so to speak, as it dries. It'll help just kind of prevent all those issues. After we do this step, we're going to be doing the same steps we did last time, so we're going to grab that auburn shadow and wash it all down, highlight it back up, and then add some of the ancient gold or antique gold. Is that it? Yeah, antique gold. And the armor should be looking real sweet. Make sure you get the sweet collar, or bad guy bib, as I like to call it. He's got underneath his neck there, his bad guy bib. And then we're gonna grab the bracer here. And I wonder, how do we do that on this end? Like that. All right, cool. Grab the different parts of the belt. I'm not concerned with the strap of the belt or where this paint really is hitting the belly, anything like that. All of that's getting painted anyway, again, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Just make sure you're getting the colors in there. Then he's got his hip guards. I suppose that's what we would call his lizard man hip armor sections. Now then, some of you may have had an extremely warped weapon. I know that was pretty common. Mine, this guy's right out of the packaging, so I got relatively lucky. The other one wasn't as easily straightened. And it looks like I did a pretty good job here, but it's a lie. It's a big old crazy man lie. You can see it's actually super bent, and I just glued it to the side of his leg. But unless someone's looking from above, look, it's an optical illusion. Wow, look at that. It looks like it's fine. So if that was something you were dealing with, don't be too afraid to just literally glue it like this to the side of the to his knee, right? And then that way it will keep it in place. But mine was all right. I know your results may vary based on some of the people that I talked to that were prepping theirs and getting it ready. But that's typical Bones life, you know, nothing crazy. Sometimes even with Bones Black stuff, you gotta do the hot water trick. Actually, I mean, I had to do that with this guy. This is the one of the Bones Black cavalry guys. You can see him here. I did this as a private lesson. We're working to work now. Of course, I've had him bent, but the spear was really warped, and then I just straightened it once with the hot water trick, except for the bottom part. But this is for a guy, we're putting together his warlord army, and so he has overlords, and this is kind of the theme we're coming up with. Rusty armor, creams and greens, man. You would think that'd be a good name for a restaurant, Creams and Greens, but I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't be good food. It would just be like, oh no, we put cream in a wheatgrass shot, and you're like, oh, thanks guys. That's what we're looking for. Now I know I don't want to insult Justin. Wheatgrass is like his favorite snack, but
Oh man, love me some wheatgrass.
all right, we're getting the other hip guard there. Flipping over to the back. Now then, you can tell this guy is from the Matrix because he's got his little data cables, his coax plugs here, right down the spine. So I'm just going to throw paint on that. No big deal if it hits the left or right hand side of the skin there. Again, this is all getting covered with that nice bright turquoise, and then we're washing down that turquoise anyway, so who cares? We got all kinds of work. You know, whenever you're doing your first base coat, sometimes it's not always the color that you're going to be painting the most on a miniature that you should apply first, but rather the one that you know it has a lot of stuff painted around it, because that way you can go much faster and you don't have to worry about it. But now you see the chat has all the bone fixin' technique chat in there. What's weird too, so I've never done boiling water, and I've never thrown it in ice. All I do is take a mug with some water, and I microwave it for like a minute and 20 seconds, and then dunk the bad boy in there, then hold it in the sink with just cold water. You know, maybe I've had to do that application twice back to back on something to get it to work. Maybe it would work instantly if I actually had like super boiling water. But yeah, I'm very impatient when it comes to stuff like that. So I just kind of try and find the fastest method possible. Now then, on his leg armor, I am going and doing, you know, all of the nails, everything like that. I feel like he's got these things all the way covered up. He's walking around a jungle. You never know what kind of snakes. I mean, would snakes attack a lizard man? I don't know. Are they like a sibling from another dribbling? Do they really go after each other? There's no way to tell, I guess. We can't really Indian in the cupboard him to ask, but let me see. Oh, gotta get the backside of the sword here. There we go. I'm using a crappy brush right now, just because I know, one, we're using metallics, and two, I'm base coating things. Then I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to the shield here. Right, the whole thing? Yes. Now then, mine was zenithal. It doesn't really make too big of a difference. You will see it will show through a little bit though, which is nice. But that just speaks to this sort of first semi-transparent application of the metallic that we're doing. There we are. Inside. All right. Now then, I know that the shoulder pads have been dry long enough, so I'll go ahead and start that second coat. And I can tell already the second coat looks great. Really nice and opaque. So you can see right here, right? I mean, really awesome coverage versus, what am I seeing under there? Well, you're seeing the gray to white zenithal, so it looks a little bit silver. But I'll go ahead and apply it again. Some of the smaller bits of armor, you don't really have to worry about a secondary coat, just because the detail will be obscured so much anyway once we apply a wash to it. But any kind of flat metal, like big plate, or any kind of surface like this, I always make sure, you know, I want to have a completely solid base coat. If you're really enthusiastic, you know, you could, I guess, spray the entire miniature. Like if you had an airbrush, you could airbrush the entire miniature with a metallic color, and that would guarantee, obviously, right out the gate, that you're going to get this beautiful opaque coverage, and it'll be super smooth, yada yada yada. But then you have to really do it. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. I had a bunch of metallic paint headed right towards my crotch. You may as well clip that one. But, you know, then you'd have to go back and spend... Oh, I did get it on his face. That's what I was wondering. If I got it on something. Here, let's see if we can rescue it off real quick. Get it really wet. Paper towel. There we go. I'll just let that dry. Ooh, yeah, there we go. But you'll have to cover up all of the stuff that you airbrushed. So that's a lot of work. I only recommend that if you're doing like an army, right, that would need to be completely covered. Everything else looks fine though. Really, it's just the shoulder pads. I guess we're waiting on the shield to dry. The shield is dry. I'm gonna go ahead and go in. Coat number 2. Thank you for the sub. Remember, you guys can subscribe for free using your Amazon Prime account. If you click that subscribe button in the top, if you're on mobile, it's somewhere down below. And then you can just link it to your Amazon account and give Reaper a free subscription that helps everything keep going a lot. Well, really, honestly, it's not just help keep the streaming stuff alive. It's also just the company, right? Like all that money goes to the same place, especially right now. So that's free money that you can throw out there, and it helps a lot. So definitely give that a look if you haven't before. And if you have before, go ahead and just double check for me to see whenever your subscription runs out, because you do have to manually renew it. And then if you don't have an Amazon Prime account and you just want to help out, you can always just subscribe in general. Different tiers available. I'm thinking our stuff looks real nice here. Let me do another coat right on the inside right there. All right. Okay. Now then, I mean, we can paint the sword silver now, I guess. Yeah, it's all getting the same. It's not getting the same wash. We'll just wait. Who cares? The only other details that are silver were like very small rivets and stuff. I'm not too concerned about that currently. So what we can do while we wait for all of that to clear up and hang out, whatever, congeal, harden, dry, whatever word you're feeling today for drying paint, we'll go ahead and start with the turquoise. Now I do need to reshake this a bit. There we go. All right. Thinning it just a bit with some water out the brush. I'm gonna add another brush full of water as I thin it out right here. And we'll go ahead and start on the tail to check the consistency. I do want some of the zenithal showing through, and wow, I thought that was mixed down enough. Clearly not. There we go. And if you don't zenithal stuff at home, meaning using multiple colors of primer to kind of give it this shaded look, it's no big deal. Just give everything a solid coverage. Make sure that color is really, really nice and baked in there. And you'll be able to do everything just fine. It's no big deal. It just helps me go a little bit faster. Painting on the back here. Don't feel too bad if you cover up the little strap that's right there. That's definitely a late stage detail that we're gonna paint in. Alright. Now I cleaned up my little spinal area the best I could really on this guy without spending too much time. My other one wasn't too bad. So I think that's just another area where the injection mold is a little bit finicky. So your mileage may vary, of course, but I've had one that was pretty easy peasy, and then this one was a little bit mangled, so I just went in with a knife and cleaned out the edges. Now then, where we accidentally got all that gold paint is probably dry. Yep. And if it's not, well, we're just gonna put so much of this color, it doesn't matter, but it's dry. Going up underneath here. And going in on the lizard pecs. His bicep, forearm, his hand, and then up right over here, at the top of his chest. Get that coated. And then we've got one little leg protruding here. Make sure we get that covered. Thanks, Cheese Bagger. I was about to say cheeseburger, then I was even more confused. Fun name. I mean, somebody out there is a cheese bagger, I'm sure. Putting cheese in bags. I suppose anytime you buy cheese. Unless you're at all.
I have a bag of cheese in my refrigerator right now, actually.
I thought you were going to say in my lap. I was like, Justin, really? We're going to have this talk
I
again?
mean, that too. I mean, I go through cheese like crazy. Literally.
I'll go through cheese like crazy. I see. Alright. I guess this is meat right here. Is that some lizard meat? We're going to pretend that it is. Up underneath there. And then the back of the hand. Fingers, all that jazz. Alright, I think we're cool, right? What am I missing? There's one part that you can't really see. It's tucked behind the awesome hilt of the sword. So just do your best. There it is. You can see the green. It's just kind of hidden up underneath. Oh, bottom of the tail. And I think we're cool on that. Obviously, way less application of color needed with this color. Better coverage on the pigment. All right. Now then, we're waiting on that to dry. We're about to be doing all kinds of washing. So I think we're just gonna wait in general here for like 30 seconds, 1 minute, as we let the skin kind of set before we go in on the armor. We're gonna wash the armor down first, so go ahead and get out your Auburn Shadow. Auburn Shadow first, and then we'll go back in with Noir Black. Here we have our Auburn Shadow. You can see I'm leaving the cap off like a good painter. And then not using my pokey tool like a bad painter. But so we're gonna have that out on the palette. Make a little wash out of it. But I do need to wait because we've got a lot of very close edges here between the two, and I would rather not have the Auburn Shadow flood into where we applied the turquoise. That's probably not a good idea. All right, let's see. All right. I'm assuming we can start getting in pretty much everywhere, right? This is all dry. Okay, we can get started, but we just have to be a little bit safe. All right, I'm gonna prep the palette here. All right, we're looking for that flubber consistency. I know I need a lot of this wash actually. I don't know why I'm making such a small little batch. Here we go. Do a little bit more. Maybe a little bit heavy, but we'll test it on the shield because the shield isn't too crazy. Yeah, this is actually great consistency. So we're gonna wash this over everything as we did with the other guy previously in the kit. Once we do this wash, type a 1 in the chat if you want to see the hero miniature for the next kit. And I can show you that mini. Painted, of course. Wah wah wee wah. So drop a 1 in the chat if you want to see that. And if not, then you can just wait until later. Because you're going to see it either way, but I would think everybody's been wanting to check them all out. Alright, there we go. But you can see what the wash does. It's really, really nice. Starts to warm everything up even more. This color's already nice and warm, but it's doing some extra lifting here with this wash. How many of you guys have started doing more colored pigment washes like this on your metallics? Let me know in the chat as well. I know I've been hearing from a few people that have been trying out different colors like purples and greens and obviously the auburn shadow for golds and things like that. Do be careful, but don't freak out too much where it connects to the body right there. Move on to this side. All right. Do our bracer. Sword bits. Man, the detail on the hilt of the sword here is so entertaining. Because I have no idea what I'm looking at, other than a lot of detail. There's a lot of stuff going on right here. That's what I do know. Go ahead and apply it. Go in on the feet here. Green on a bra. Yeah, that'll work, Chimera, for sure. You can do, if it's going to be rust on bronze, the green works. Just make sure it's tilting a little bit in the sky blue direction of green, so that way it reads as the sort of right kind of rust. And then what's cool as well, don't be afraid to eventually go directly with that color. So like start out with a wash. I had a miniature that I just did that on, but it's not here. I think it's over there. Yeah, it's at the photo area. But so start slow, and then don't be afraid to keep building it up until you're just literally applying the base color or the color that you're using to make the wash out of directly into the heaviest areas, and then it will look really, really awesome. And then if you want to be really brainy about it, remember to not apply it wherever the most movement is happening. And then that way it will, you know, the rust aspect will make a little bit more sense too in areas that are stagnant or immobile. Or do whatever you want, right? Who cares? That's typically my MO, is if it looks good, it's getting painted. All right, we're gonna apply our last little bit here, and we'll wait for this to dry. Cool, we're gonna let that dry, and then we'll wash down the skin. We're gonna wash the skin the same color that we're doing on top of this. If you remember last time, on the other Dragon Man as well, we go back in with Noir Black on top of the Auburn Shadow before highlighting it up. Look at that, we're really making headway on this guy already. Let's see. Shaded Metallics, my Minotaur Demon Lord. That's a good miniature, for sure. Orange wash over Skeleton Key. Oh, orange over Skeleton Key. Because I love Skeleton Key. So it's an orange over a bluish, greenish tinted metallic. So I'm assuming it probably looked good. Like it was really, really pigmented, I'm guessing, wherever it pooled. Oh yeah, we're supposed to be looking at this guy. Let's see. Man, my neck has been so messed up. All right. Anyway, this is our hero for the forest kit. Let's get it crispy. There we go. What do you guys think about that? You can see we have different greens throughout the whole thing. We've got some nice purpley tones built in there. All kinds of things. Oh, did I? Uh-oh. Look at this. How do I live my life forgetting to paint like one tiny detail on everything that I do? Well, it explains a lot, but look at this. Now you're gonna see me. we gotta finish the mini. Here we go. We gotta wash that down. The one part I forgot to do, but there we go. But yeah, this is a really, really fun miniature. I went with like really, really fair elf skin, as you can tell. Sort of that more ivory tone. The weapon should be pretty fun for a lot of people. Again, we're going for kind of that like non-metallic metal, not really metal, but also kind of magical. I wanted it to kind of flow in the same way as the vine that he's like stepping on, if that makes sense. So it's more of like like maybe it's like a summoned weapon or something. Obviously, we have the gold and the metallic color with the base sets that we do, but I figured it'd be cool to go that way with it. But especially compared to some of the other minis from the kit as well. But let's take a look at our friend here. I still have a little bit of the turquoise that isn't dry, so we need to wait another couple seconds or so. Now then, this guy might change. There's like two things I need to change on him, so we'll go ahead and show this guy off too at the same time. Here was the big bear boy. The big bear boy. You can see the weapon right there. We're doing some shaded metallic. We've got that awesome bronze color mixed in with some purple. Make that look cool. But I think I've painted this sculpt maybe like 3 times before. Now I've got like 2 minutes of finishing work on him left to do before the photos get snappy. And then of course there's this chick. I'm sure you guys can pick her up easily. And then there's that one too, the big Minotaur. But we don't want to ruin the surprise. All right, now I'm gonna take our Noir Black. I had some over here hiding. Fluttered like a fairy, yeah, exactly. All right, now I'm gonna take this color and we're going to wash it more gently than I'm doing now. It's a little bit too intense. So I'm gonna pull some of this out. There we go. You're wanting to add it as more of a, really just a wash in the shadow. Same idea back here. I just need to thin this is the issue. Now, just to be safe, I'm applying this to the armor first before doing it on the skin, but we are going to use this color on the skin as well, just Noir Black straight up. Feet, don't be afraid to wash it in. Relatively strong. All that's in shadow anyway. Let's see, we'll do this side of the hip guards and the feet. I think I'm actually gonna have to make a different pool of Noir Black because that one may have some metallic in it now and be a little bit warmer. I like how you guys are like telling, you're like You're recalling this stuff like it's like the lore of the channel. Is this what y'all are talking about right here? Look at this. We got an Arthur hair attached to it. That's what you guys are talking about. There you go. For those that were concerned. Legend has it, he had a sticky note. Alright, I'm getting more.
I hear that's just an urban legend. I wouldn't believe it.
Urban legend, fake news, duh. Alright. So I've got some nice flubber action going on there. I'm gonna remix this up way more. There we go. It's about 3-to-1 water to paint. And let's just go for it. I'm gonna put this starting all over the skin. We are spending more time highlighting up on this skin than the other one. Obviously, the other lizard guy, I mean, other than his sort of little blobby face, right? I mean, you knew he had scales, but not the same intensity as this guy. This guy, lots of very identifiable individual scales. I'm gonna add a little bit more water here just to thin it down. There we go, it's better. A little bit too pigmented. I want to see, you know, the color underneath still, just like that. I'm gonna add a little bit more water built in. There we are. All right, got that, got that. Okay, let's do the knee. Let's get the knee. Do the foot there again, just because. Arm here. Yeah, I think the next kit is the forest kit is like, oh, where are the paints? 1, 2, debatable. 2 browns, 1 dark, or 1 really rich, and then 1 really desaturated. And then there's one that you would think is brown, but it's more of a weird green. Then we've got another weird kind of off green, not like meadow green, right? And then we've got a very, very light purple, very pastel purple, and then a rich purple. And then a creamy color. I think it's just literally creamy ivory, if I'm not mistaken. But that gives us our forest palette to work with. And then all of the miniatures pretty much utilize them in different ways. That was one thing I wanted to make sure to do. So they still all look like they belong together in the same little painted world, right? But they all kind of stand out in different ways, which is cool. One being, you know, more green, more purple, more brown. Really, the only one that kind of utilizes all of them would be the centaur. Okay, let's do the tail. Like so. Okay, now then, the shield, I'm just going to apply the top first like this, and then I'm not going to apply any more. I'm just going to keep moving my wash towards the bottom of the shield. That way I can get it to cool a little bit more. Help give us that tapered shadow effect. There you go. That should treat us nicely. So I'll let that application dry. May go back again on the shield specifically. And then here on the top armor plates, I don't want this color really to be dominant at all. So I applied a little bit. Now I'm going back with a bunch of water, and I'm going to pull most of this out. So now that I have that on there, you can see I'm just wiping it off on my hand and pulling it out, other than sort of right there in the little curly Q swirl deal that we got going on the front and the back, and then obviously doing some line work there in between the two big plates. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. There we go. And I'm gonna add water. and just pull it the direction I want it to dry. And there we go. Now we're just waiting on things to dry. Exciting, I know. It's pretty dry in here today where I'm working, so everything's drying relatively fast. I mean, you can tell already a lot of it's drying without much drama. Now then, if we compare our boys here. Boy number 1 on the right, obviously all the highlights have happened, but you can see on the skin now, we are getting to that initial base color. The armor now is pretty much completely done and ready for highlighting. And then we just have to paint the actual sword. Didn't do that. We can do that now. May as well. We're waiting on stuff. Big thank you again to everybody that buys stuff on Amazon through my link. I know you guys are still doing that daily. Big thanks. And then another thing that I'm doing as well, I started sharing the Humble Bundle stuff. So like the Dritz, the Legend of Dritz series is my favorite book series of all time. And Humble Bundle right now has all that stuff, like the entire series for $15 plus other books. If you are interested, it's about $1 a book, so it's a great deal. But you can follow that. There's a partnered link on the Facebook page directly. And I know, I think maybe like 10 or 15 people have done it, so that's really cool. I know that you already raised $20 for charity, which is cool through that link. And then anybody else that's interested in the Amazon stuff, remember you can always follow, I think it's Josh's Things, ! Or you can just go to minipainting.studio and follow that Amazon link, and it'll take you to all the different supplies that I use. Or you can just do your regular shopping after clicking that link, and Amazon will say, "Hi Josh, here's 3 pennies." And I go, "Thanks." But enough people do it to where it helps out, so I do appreciate you there. But we got that done. We can pretty much get started. I think we're probably gonna go for the armor first. Maybe. See, we do have that nice shade building in on our shield there. I don't know how I feel about my application of that silver. Look how it's applying. I should have had my brush a little bit wetter. That's kind of funny though. I don't know if you can tell. You can probably tell if you're full screen. Definitely have some brush strokes. It's all right. I won't tell anybody if you don't. Here, I'll get some more paint to put on there. There we go. That's the appropriate way to apply metallic paint. There we go. We'll go ahead and just hide all those dummy marks. There we go. Now look at that. Now it's nice and smooth. That's funny that it went down like that. All right. We're just waiting on them to dry. I can airbrush it if I need to. Always an option. See, I'll grab this. Gently throw some air its way. Did I paint the back of the sword? Yeah, right there. That's the only part that you need to see. Right there. Now, if you mean the part that no one's ever going to see, that literally you can't see on camera even, no, because I'm not a psychopath. But oh, looks like we did not do the bottom side of that shoulder though. But did I do it on this one? Oh, look, I did. All right, I guess we gotta do it since I did it on the actual paint job. The first time around. All right, everything's pretty much dry now. Airbrush barely had to do any lifting there.
So you are a psychopath, right?
No, I didn't do the sword. The sword is the mark of the psychopath. Yeah, the sword's directly up against the body. That's a big old waste of time. But let me see, where's this color? There we go. Doop, doop. Look at that. Now we can continue. And I'll just wash it down. Since it's in shadow. The proxy model bases are fine. They don't have lips underneath them, so they're perfectly flat. In case you were wondering. So if you're somebody that does like magnets or whatever, those are not the bases for you, for sure. All right, this dry. That is dry. I'll go ahead and wash down the sword as well. Maybe I'll just do a little bit heavier application here. Let's see. There we go. I don't like how it's fighting me at the end of the blade there. It's okay. So I just throw the miniature. And the backside, there we go. All right, now I'm gonna take the time here to do a final wash on the shield. I just wanted to be dark down there. Baking in that shadow. There we go. Tapering it up as I apply it. Okay. Now then, we're gonna go to the other side of the world here on the palette. Clean out my brush. Actually, I should start using like a real brush. The brush I was using up until that point was a big dumb brush that has a terrible tip on it. But it served us well so far. Wow, that's weird. Okay. Now then, first thing we're going to do is start layering back our turquoise. With this application, we're pretty much covering everything that we washed down. We're not really worried about like the direction of the application of the highlight, anything like that. We just want to start bringing back the color. And you'll notice it's not going to be like revolutionary bright or anything like that. It's just kind of barely going to touch back up where we applied all the wash. And possibly more so in the darkest areas, but what's nice about these scales is that they are not that small. Not that small, and there's not too many of them. I mean, you can tell I'm going pretty quick here, but I don't feel like it should be a traumatic experience for you if you are afraid of painting individual scales. Now, of course, you know, if you've been watching any of the dragon streams, that's something I'm not afraid of, because I've been abusing myself doing that for quite some time. Following the curvature here on the face, leaving the shadow underneath the cheek, edge of the nose there, everything like that. Going back on the other side. Yeah, this guy actually has like real scales that you can pick out compared to the last guy. The last guy was more of like a tiered scale thing, I feel like. It was kind of like groupings of layers, if that makes sense. I mean, if you've painted it, you know. But that, I feel like those were just kind of like tiered on top of the body rather than this one. These are like obviously more segmented. But it's a bigger miniature. Makes sense. All right. On to the chest. Now that top part's still wet. I'm not gonna mess with it. Now then, on this side, starting to highlight the muscles individually. And he's got crazy musculature right there. Going in for the biceps. Forearm in there. Fingers on the hand. Cool. Doing the top of the thigh and the knee. And our hand here, leaving some of the shadow in between the knuckles. Onto the back. Highlighting up the bottom part here of this shoulder muscle, just because I want that shadow to remain, look nice. You can see it's built in there. Back of the arm on the left. He's got his like lower fat back fat rolls. Is that what we're seeing? This guy got back fat rolls? Wow. You know, his mealworm diet must be pretty heavy if he's dealing with that. I mean, because he's ripped in the front. Maybe he's like the dudes that do roids that are bodybuilders. They get the huge gut, but with lizard men, they just get the back roll. I don't know. I'll have to ask a lizard man the next time I see one at Walmart. All right, back of the calf here. His weird second ankle, is that what we would call that part? On an inverted kneecap? I don't know. I'm sure there's a fantasy anatomist out there that could tell us. Scales on the tail scales, as it were. Bopping those out individually, the ones across the back. And then the crisscross applesauce. Singing songs, Diana Ross. Little ones. I'm just going to fill in and dot. I'm just using the tip of my brush to do it. Really, you're just looking to highlight out the middle portion of each of the scales. We don't need it to be amazing or perfect. You just want to highlight it. Back to that base coat color. Just like that. All right, now then, I'm gonna grab whatever white I've got in front of me. This time it's linen white. Amazing, I know, I haven't had linen white in front of me in forever. But if you have any kind of white, that's what we're looking for here. Well, it was funny, when I was painting up the kit for the forest stuff, I was in my head, I'm like, I hadn't seen a list of the miniatures that are just straight up a part of the core painting kit in a while, and I just didn't remember what they were, so I had to pull them out and then like put together my little core kit as well. And be a little bit more creative with those paints this time around. All right, now then, we're gonna move this up a little bit, right there. And I'm gonna start attacking the face like a feral cat, and we're gonna go in towards the eye ducts, top of the mouth, where the tear duct connects, like so. Hit the cheek, top of the nose spike, top of the eyes, and around the jowl, like so. Okay, we've got same thing on this side, even though it's a little bit different this time around, but still tear duct down to the mouth. Around the jowl, and then get the scales on the jowl too. Go ahead and highlight up the big scales here on the back of the head. Like so. I'm going to flip it on this way. All right, this color now. I'm only going to highlight the full square for the first two rows, and then the top of the square on the bottom row underneath that. So by that I mean, look, I'm gonna do the whole square here, top of the square. I'm gonna do that all the way across the neck. I wanna kind of hardwire in my highlight amount, and that's the way to do it. This also will help your mind get into the concept of outlining them that we're going to do next once we start getting to our... I think there's 4 total highlight levels in the skin. I'm not sure. We'll have to just kind of get there to make it happen. On his giant lizard pectacle, we're going to go ahead and highlight it right up against the strap there. Go ahead and get the interior portion here as well. We definitely ignored that the first time around. We're not going to ignore it this time. There we go. Just highlight that up accordingly. Now then, going in on his side abs. Are they obliques? Is that what that's called? I don't know. I'm fat. I don't have muscles. I mean, I have some, like my big brain and my painting muscles, but I don't know nothing about this side business. All right, other side. I like how Justin casually decides to confirm that I'm fat by not saying anything. So rude, Justin.
I was kind of
giggling.
rude. I was smiling ear to ear. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, that's funny. All right.
I actually think I like the blue on this one better than the older one. I don't know if it looks more vivid. Maybe it's just on my monitor, but it looks more vivid. Slightly.
Yeah, because we're gonna be adding more white.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's just because of the stage it's in.
Ear. All right, top 2. I'm not even gonna mess with the bottom one. That just seems like a recipe for disaster. We're gonna be at the top of the thing right here, whatever this thing is. We're gonna call this the chest beam. That little section right there. Twisted Doma. You were late with that question. We've showed them off for 2 weeks, but today the photos of all of them will be out, and I'll put them in the Reaper group, and everybody can see an oogle and ogle and bibble and bobble, and then they should be ready to roll for next week. Assuming I don't ruin anybody's life building the kits, but it is what it is. I got a lot going on too. Going here towards the knuckles. The knuckles. Only worrying about the knuckles there. Let's see. Top of the thigh. I'll show them off again, Twisted. And then if I forget or whatever, if you leave, right, they'll be shared later tonight, so it's not a big deal. Okay. Following our same highlight patterns that we had across the back, as before. Let me change this up. All right, now we're gonna add in another tipful of our white, whichever one you're using, doesn't really matter. It'll pretty much drastically change the color, which is what we're expecting. Now then, with this color, we're only going to be painting an upside down U. I don't know. The best way to describe it is we're doing the left, top, and right-hand side of each of the scale. So check it out. This is what I'm talking about. Not bright enough. I'm adding more white. There we go. That's what I want. Top, left, and right of each scale. There we go. And that way, if we need to go brighter, we can, but that will start building in the highlighting on the individual scales themselves. Leaving the bottom undone just to reinforce the highlight direction. If you had to guess with the next application of color what parts of the scales we highlight, you're right, it's just gonna be the top. Just the top. Like that one part of Stonehenge? Yeah, there you go, Crispy. Lowercase n, yeah, whatever you need, whatever you need to have it make sense. It clearly is making sense. And then on these, we're gonna go for the tops. What if you did that in different color? What are you talking about? You mean the color that we're applying right now, like a light pink instead? It definitely wouldn't work because we haven't built in a different color into the shadow. If you're wanting to do kind of like shifting color like that, you need to make sure that your base color makes sense with the color that you're shifting. So what I would have done, right, like if I was gonna try and be sneaky and use like a skin tone or something pinker, right, as the final highlight color, then I would have snuck in purple or maybe the auburn highlight. So yellow, I think the delay is confusing me here, but the base color needs to make sense with whatever you're applying on top. Or not even the base color, like your darkest shadow. So I would have needed like the auburn color or a purple if we were gonna use a pinkish tone instead. Which we haven't done, of course. Now maybe during the wash application, instead of noir black, we could have done that, but. Following the same highlight pattern that we did on the face previously, tear ducts, all that. Go ahead and do the front of his muzzle. I guess I'll do the nose hole. Can't forget the nose hole. There we go, now you can breathe. Don't feel so bad about it. All right, other side. Dude, Windows is giving me a notification sound every time the song changes, and I have no idea why it's done that today. It's like, hey, did you forget? Like, no, Windows, what are you doing? It's changing its mind on me. Or losing its mind. To the top of these scales, like we did on the other side. Top half, I should say. Highlighting enough to leave the structure beneath. And then to use the chat's phrase, we're going to be stonehenging the other ones here. Okay. Now then, moving on to the rest of the body. Let's go ahead and do this hand. That's going to be very simple. We're going to do knuckles. There we go. And then the fanga joints right there. It's a scientific term. Then on the reptoid pectoid, I'm gonna go across here. Grab some water so I can taper it correctly. There we go. Boop. Simple highlight. Same thing with the weird top part of his meat bits here. I feel like if this guy was grilling, he would talk like Hank Hill. I don't know why. I just get that vibe from this lizard man. I'm not trying to put him in a box or anything like that by saying that, but I just feel like he would definitely say, "You taste the meat, not the heat." I don't know why, but I feel like that's the kind of life that this guy lives down in the jungles. All right, we're gonna grab the under muscles, but I'm only gonna focus on the edges of them. So you'll see here, I'm doing the top edge, a little bit of the side, top edge, a little bit of the side. Edge of these muscles. Edges of these muscles. Only in the front. I'm not following it back into the back though. Just the front. Like so. This side we're gonna do the same thing. What is happening with this color? What? Hold on. Very confused. It was like I didn't apply. There we go. Definitely looked like I didn't apply enough last go around. There we go. Now I can come back to this color. I also have a little bit of detail loss on that part of the sculpt, so I'm just kind of fudging it. Like that's totally flat, but I'm just kind of pretending that there's detail there. So, anyway. We're pretending. Alright. Top of the knee. Top of the knee to you. That has to go on the Reaper bingo. Josh saying a top of the morning to you joke about painting. It's happened every stream for like the last month. Top that little thigh port. Call that the big piece if it was in a thing of chicken. Give me the big piece. Gonna highlight that up. There we go. Alright, now I'm gonna go up here. A little bit of this little elbow action. Get a little highlight in the elbow. The old bow-reno. Alright, boom. Moving to the back. We're gonna do the back of this arm. Hi, back of the arm. How are you? Here we go. Look, now it's happy. It's highlighted. Sneaking down the back for this highlight. That part of the shoulder musk. Bolts. Back down this edge. Like so. Oh, you know what? Let's pretend that these are like little spine rings down his back. So I'll do this middle portion in the same color. That way it'll look like, you know, he's got spines or something coming through the rings. There we go. That's funny. That's funny geekness. It used to be so bad with me with one job that I had. I mean, I would get emails at 2 in the morning from one guy, and then he would send me follow-up emails at 5 a.m. mad that I didn't answer his 2 a.m. emails. But I would get the phantom email noise, so like I would literally hear the noise in my head and it wouldn't exist. I'd be like, oh, my phone just went off, and I walk across the room. No, there's no email. Anything like that. I'm gonna apply this to the back scales. Actually, you know what's funny? One time I went to the doctor because I have general anxiety disorder, and it obviously is like better and worse at random times of your life, depending on what's going on. And I was at the doctor, and we were talking about. I'm like, yeah, I take this for emergency panic attacks, but I don't really like it. And we're kind of talking about whatever. And he was like, so what's the biggest problem? And I was like, well, I go to bed and I wake up afraid to look at my phone because there's going to be like angry messages or emails. And he was like, yeah, that's definitely not healthy, but I literally feel the same way now with messages that I get on my painting page. Oh man, it's funny how the context of those same problems are so much different, but it's the same idea. All right, you can tell what I did there. Just highlighted up the right-hand section there in the top. I'm just gonna do the top here on the left, but barely these top scales, like nothing, because the tail's twisted, right? I mean, that's why we're not really worried about it. And then we're gonna do the top of this. Is this a second calf muscle? I don't know. I'm confused on what to call the anatomy on a inverted joint knee. Is that what you even call that? I don't know, man. I don't know what these lizard parts are, man. I've just got leopard geckos. I don't know about these advanced lizard boys. I'm gonna highlight up little hand meat bits. I realize these scales are kind of like lost in the sauce right here. Go ahead and pick them up. There we go. Oh man, it's interesting, the mold line is like right down the middle of his head. He's got some serious lip cracking problems. There we go. Digitigrade. Did a great job, Sharky, coming up with that answer. I'll just go ahead and mute myself. All right, we're gonna go a little bit brighter. One more brush tip. This color is gonna go just across the top of our Stonehenges. I feel like these aren't as bright as I think they are, actually. And then same color across the top of the big spines, or whatever we're gonna delineate these as. And the neck scale, well, the whole thing is a neck. I don't know, I guess this would be his head? Side of his head scales. We're gonna highlight these up a little bit more. There we are. Brighten that up just a tad, just a touch, just a smidge. There we go. I feel like that's better. All right, then highlighting up the face further. I'm gonna focus in right at the tear duct, like this. And I'm gonna expand that highlight down a little bit across the top of the mouth, like that. And then the eyebrow. I just want it to be brighter, like right there in the center. And then, if you can pick out these little scales across the top, go ahead and feel free. I'll attempt a little bit of work there. There you go. And then the tops of the other scales. There you go. Flip it to this side. Same idea. We're going to the tear duct area. You can tell it's brighter there anyway, already from the other layers. There we go. What did I do with the... That's funny. I'm just gonna take white and dot the eye real quick. Man, I'm probably gonna get sick touching that water. I haven't changed that water in days. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do that. All right, we're gonna just dot the eye. Wow. You're a lizard, Harry. Was that good? Was that a good one?
No more.
Was that a good one? You're a lizard, Harry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. We gotta keep highlighting up this side of the scaly alies. Even though out of context, I'm sure that sounded insane for anyone that doesn't get the reference. Oh, that's funny. All right. Top of the stone hinges on this side of his head. Just randomly, House Slytherin. I don't know, this guy looks annoying. He's probably a Hufflepuff. All right, we're gonna do the tops of the stony wony hingy scales up here. Make sure they pop. Got good contrast. Like so. Yeah, Zambies, there definitely wasn't a conversation about what miniatures to include in these survival kits. But the way that I look at it is the survival kits will just be like a trial run for the Miniature Monday kits, I guess, if people follow along with this color scheme for it. I don't know. Either way. They definitely double dipped on on their kit minis for this month. All right. Pleased with that. I'm gonna go for the knuckle as I go for the lip. Actually, that made a lot of sense. There we go. I was looking at the knuckle though. I'm gonna do the knuckles here. There we are. Like so. We'll go ahead and do some of the spines across the back of the tail. Like that. All right, I say we're ready for the armor. The door needs WD-40. Yeah, I know. I've heard about it for the last year. It's an unfixable door. All right. Now then, the armor itself has been washed down twice, so we're gonna work our way up on the highlight. I'm gonna get a new area of palette land here. And we're gonna grab the ancient bronze. After this, we're gonna do the antique gold on top, but we're gonna go with this first. All right, we'll do the easiest parts. The mini pauldrons here, the under pauldron, whatever that is. Go ahead and highlight those. Top of the inside edge. All right, now, the application of this is a little bit tricky, so do pay attention. We're gonna go in the little crease on the pauldron there, the little concave portion, and then feather it the closer to that outside edge that you get. So you can see what I've done there. It's nice and shiny on the inside part, and we still get the wash on the outside part. I'm gonna do that application twice on each one. So I'm gonna move over to this one. You're gonna have to do it twice just because we're applying this nice and thin. I don't want this to be a heavy coat. That'll help us rebuild the shadow in the pauldron. See on this side, did okay. Right around in the front, we're gonna like manually rebuild it. But while we're waiting on that to dry completely, we can go ahead and mess with our bracer here. Here we are. Nice and bright. Highlighting the inside of the hip plate there. Moving on to the bottom of the, whatever this is. The loin plate, I suppose. Oh, let's go ahead and get the belt too, since we're here. That made it sound like I'm talking about a shopping list. Let's get the belt since we're already here. All right, got that knocked out. And then I'll focus on the bottom of the plates here. Really only looking towards the top portion for that application to highlight it out. On the detailed symphony of metal on the edge of the blade there, I'm just sort of over brushing the paint. It's like dry brushing, but not. And then we'll go ahead and highlight up this portion on the end. I'll go ahead and dot the bottom just to give it some dimension. Kneecap, we'll do the side of the kneecap there. Trade it to that side. Highlight that up. And then just some of the larger sections I'll highlight. This is really as bright as we're gonna get here. Now that that's kind of rocking and rolling on its own, I'm gonna go back for application number 2 on the pauldron. So remember, I'm applying it in the crease first, like this, and then tapering that out the further we get towards where that wash is resting on the inside. But you can see that application looks really, really nice. Really nice, smooth, shiny transition. Do the same thing on this side again. Connecting it to the front. You can see I did that right there. We'll go ahead and connect it on the back. And by connected, I mean to the actual edge proper of the pauldron. We'll go ahead and do it on this side. Look at that. Everybody's happy with that corner. That looks nice. All right, now then the shield is its own conundrum. I'm gonna go full coverage here on the top half and then just taper it towards the bottom. Going back in between, layering in the paint and tapering it down so that way it interacts with that shadow. Overbrushing the smaller details as we move down. You can see how it's building in. This color is really, really nice and reflective. And then just overbrushing the edge on the bottom so that way people can see that. Boom. Shield being way more weathered, obviously, than the rest of the armor. My neck hurts. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and just do the edge of the pauldron just to make sure it's cool. We're gonna go back, remember, with the gold, antique gold on top of this, but just to cross the T's and dot the lizard eyes. Gonna keep going here on the hips. There we go. All right. Give me 2 seconds to apply some biofreeze to my neck. Oh, it fell out of my hand and got all over my pants. Cool. Gotta love it. All right. Did you like that, Chewy? That one was intentional that time around. Ooh, man. Oh, man.
I could really use some biofreeze.
I have some stuff that's better than biofreeze, but my roommate has it, I'm pretty sure.
What do you have?
It's like this, it's called like Bison something. I forget what it's called. The store that my mom used to work at, I guess. She's laid off right now. They sell it. I forget what it is, but it's like biofreeze and icy hot on crack. Like it gets really, 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 really hot for about 5 minutes. And then it gets super, super cold for so I put too much of it on my legs one day because my legs were sore from moving, and I had just gotten out of the shower and I was like, oh whatever, I'm just, oh my, like, you know, oh man, my thighs hurt so bad, so I just like rubbed it on the back of my thighs. I'm like, cool, whatever. I was shivering for an hour in my apartment, absolutely shivering.
Whoa.
That's how cold it made me feel because I put so much of it on. But it's killer, and I mean right now my neck, I don't know what I did to my neck. It's just been bothering me all week, but. All right, we're gonna grab that antique gold. It's gonna be the last part of our armor recipe that we're working with. Oh God, biofreeze for deodorant. Woo. Everyone check your email. All right. Taking the gold. Did I just water that down somehow? Yeah, I did. Okay, whoops. There we go. Gonna go back on top of the inner pauldrons. A little bit on the inside of these right here. Taper, taper, taper. Same on this side. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Now it just has that brighter, more yellow highlight on the edges of the pauldron there. Now then, directly on the edges of the pauldrons, go ahead and highlight it up with your gold. Top edge of the shield. Assuming you did a better job filing it down than I did, so that way it's a bit smoother. The video for the forest kit for the basing is sculpting a green stuff tree stump. Hopefully that's fun for you guys. Otherwise it wasn't anything impressive, right? I mean, it's just dirt and some foliage. Kind of hard to attach a whole tree to a small base, but I figured sculpting a part of a tree would probably give you some stuff to have fun with. Going in, highlighting up the belt a little bit, top of the kneecap, and the side hip armor. All right. Why'd everybody just say, are you talking about the sculpting video? It's not crazy. I'm not a great sculptor, but it'll look like a tree stump. I do have it painted and it looks like a tree stump, so I'm pretty pleased. You know what? I feel like these boys look real similar. I feel like the one on the right is still a little bit brighter, but that's fine. Highlighted the shield more on him, but they're always slightly different every time. What was that? What was that? I just get a text message? No one ever texts me but my parents. There we go. Yep, sure enough. Sure enough it was. All right. Now then, let's go ahead and grab. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take some Noir Black and hit it with the Auburn Shadow to make a nice deep brown, and that's what we're gonna use on all of the. There we go. There we are. Training for a half marathon. Yeah, that sounds like a thing to do. All right, I'm gonna take the Auburn Shadow, mix in a little bit of the Noir Black, make it a nice, deep, rich brown, and that's what I'm gonna do for all of our straps, boodles, and biddles that we've ignored this whole time. There we go. Oops. It's okay, I won't tell anybody if you don't that I got it on the arm there.
I'm telling everybody.
Of course you will, you snitch. Just call you Dustin C69.
You beat me to it. Thank
Got
you.
him! Alright. See what else we missing here? Alright, we got this one. Big connectors. Okay, he's got his belt. Yeah, I would like to. Well, I was gonna say I would like to do sculpting more seriously, but definitely not. Not like miniatures that we paint, but more like the art that I do, if that makes sense. More of like the illustrative stuff, making figures out of that. That would be a fun little project for me that I've sort of started one off and on, but really I think the challenging part for me is going to be the body. Like the face construction's pretty easy for the way that I kind of do stuff, but the body is where for sure I'll kind of struggle a little bit. But I have an armature made. I literally have like a guy that's made of green stuff right now. I'm literally looking at it. It's definitely interesting. I don't think it's like the worst thing on the planet, but all right, let's grab you know, the blade just looks so clean. You love the base sculpting. Oh, from that video? Yeah, and what was cool too is I did that lesson with Peter where we went back and put in a ton of color into the base. You can see it there. But really the exercise was showing that like color doesn't necessarily mean contrast or value. Oh, look, by the way, the shadow's like hard painted in there. See how it doesn't move? But when you see it from a certain angle, it looks correct. It's kind of funny how that works. But that was fun to sculpt. I don't typically really like the only bases that I get to do much work with are the ones for like Moonstone and things like that. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go back in with our Noir Black and kind of rebuild our shadow structure because I feel like it was real hot garbage. So I'm gonna try and edit this real fast. I'm just pushing around this tiniest amount of paint here. Pushing it around like a big old painting bully. There we go. That'll work for us. Just enough extra shadow to play nice. All right, I'm gonna get new honed steel. There we go. All right, now then, highlighting back up the bleed. Do the edges. Make sure they're nice and bright. Bottom corner here. Or point. It's bottom point, I should say. Let's see, highlight that into this. There we go. Bottom edge of the blade. And then I'm going to water this down a little bit. Just kind of glaze in the highlight there. In the center portion of the blade. I pinning down a metallic. Am I crazy? Yes. But it does work in some application. Like so. And there we go. Rebuilding that shadow in there. Looks good. Kind of want to highlight that out a little bit more. There we go. And then honestly, we just got some tassels in the back of that, which, you know, whatever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take our olive shadow color that we've ignored this entire time. Left field, I know. But I feel like actually, nope, I'm a big old dummy. We're gonna do deep twilight instead because it'll make more sense with the teal and the armor. This is gonna be our tassel color here. And the back of that little cloaky deal he's got. So we'll go ahead and knock these tassels back with this color. Applying it, of course, that 1-to-1 ratio, so my zenithal shows through a little bit. There we go. And then headed towards the back. The barely visible butt cloth. And there we go. And we can shade that down. Shade down the handle here. This guy. There we go. Other than waiting for that, that's pretty much it for this guy. Definitely pleased with our recreation of the first one. I think it looks nice and imposing. Especially when you put him next to his lil henchman. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get him, boss. And he's like, okay, whatever, dude, please just leave me. I think that's his attitude towards his underling. Since I said I would show, again, some of these right here. So this will be the Metal Hero miniature for the Forest kit. You can see him here. Definitely fun. This is just a really awesome sculpt. It is in 3 pieces. So you will have the entire body minus the hand up top, and then you'll have this base. Now, I did not pin this miniature to the base itself. I just kind of cleaned the area with my knife and then glued it on rather heavily. And then I did pin the hand on top. So that is something that you can choose to do, or you can glue it. It had a pretty good connection, so I wasn't really too worried about it. But definitely like it. Again, I liked the direction I went with the weapon. I wanted the weapon to look like a conjured weapon rather than, you know, something metal. The only metal I have on this guy is these brooches, and then the things in his hair are gold. Otherwise, I wanted it to be like a complete sort of natural druid. But yeah, definitely really like this guy. We should have fun with the kit, painting him up. And then I know I showed the bear as well. I'll show the bear again. The bear, a good example of the metal, shading down more natural stuff. Now this guy isn't done. He has probably literally 5 minutes left. I need to pick out the eyes and some of the small deets, and he's finito. But, and then I guess if you really care, I mean, again, this stuff will be Barbarian. This guy will be uploaded, or the images will be uploaded later today, but this were the paint colors too, if you cared to know. Which are, I'll just name them real quick too. Sorceress Mist, Royal Purple, Creamy Ivory. What else we got in here? We got Muddy Brown, we got Rotten Wood, we got Scorched Metal, we got Jade Green, and Shield Brown. I think that's all of them. That may be missing one. I'm not sure. But those are all the paint colors for you. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with us yet again. Remember, you can check me out specifically on Facebook for most of the stuff that I do. You can also check out the Patreon. Over the weekend, we painted up this awesome Stone Lurker, the Bones Black mini. You can see that here. We do all kinds of classes every single month. 2 demo videos and 2 classes starting at $10. So you're paying me like $1.10 an hour. So it's definitely smart pricing on my end. But there are quite a few people on Patreon now. I think we're at 70 people. So we're almost to 100. That'll be awesome if I hit 100 people. But that is it. Remember, we're gonna be releasing this stuff for the next kit. You guys will see that. And then Justin, do you have anything else for us?
No, just catch Ann tomorrow morning, and then Proctor in the afternoon, and you know, rest of the shows this week, guys.
There you go. Well,
By the way, the stream schedule should be updated in the bottom of the stream, but that thing gets kind of weird every now and then. It's a good extension. It just sometimes doesn't translate well. I don't know why.
I mean, you mean the numbers where it just says like 11:30, 4 p.m.?
Yeah, like it's supposed to adjust to your time zone, but I don't feel like it always does.
They have Proctor at 4. So.
Correct. That should be right.
Yeah.
But sometimes people will come in and it'll be like at a weird time, and they'll be waiting, and it won't be, you know. Or they'll come in and it'll say now live, and we're not supposed to be live.
Gotcha.
But either way, thank you guys for coming on out and hanging out with us while we painted this awesome lizard man.
Are we rating someone today?
Yes, actually, we're gonna be rating Mocha, since she pretty much only streams on Mondays that we are also streaming, that we can catch her. So
Sweet.
I have to catch her when I can.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and make sure to give Mocha all kinds of hype and love.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you very much for coming out.
Adios.
See ya.